In addition to asking you to subscribe, I'd like to tell you about today's sponsor, Clover Valley Potato Crisp. Now, normally I just have one canister of or one item of whatever I'm talking about, but in this situation, I have 3, and they're empty because I ate all 3 of them. Every time I bought one, I said, you know what? I want to talk about these, and I want to show myself eating them, and I would sit there and just eat the entire canister. They are good. Pringles are trash. Just like one of my other videos, I talked about companies not putting enough flavoring on their products. When you have Big Chip, they own the market, so they really start to skimp on the ingredients. Clover Valley, found at Dollar General, is not skimping on the ingredients. These sour cream and onion potato crisps are amazing. Now, I will say, there used to be another brand at Dollar General, I believe, called Good and Plenty or something like that. And that brand, I believe, is Dollar General's attempt of being healthy. I started eating these when they were the Good and Plenty brand, and I was like, there's no way these are healthy. And I'm sure somebody else realized that and said, we need to rebrand those because we might either get sued or we just don't want to be as misleading as we actually are. I have no idea. But I'm glad that they came back because they disappeared from shelves for quite a while. So I'm glad that they're here. And as you can see, in a week, I am happy to say that I've consumed a bunch of them, while equally sad to say that I ate them so fast. So consider some Clover Valley sour cream and onion potato crisp. So it's been about a month and a half since I last published the video, but that's fine. I got busy with other stuff. So it's clear now that there's a lot of talk about these new Pixel phones. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I considered pre-ordering one. And then I thought, for about a solid day, the day after the actual event. And I said, it's just not worth it. Now, we look at the price right here, $799 for the regular Pixel 9. Of course, if you want more storage, or if you want the Pro or the Pro XL or the Fold, then the price goes up. I don't care about any of those. As far as I'm concerned, it's a relatively capable device, and anything beyond what the base model is just more than what I'm looking for. But the issue that I have is the price. And you might say, oh, $799 isn't too bad. But what is so special about that price, $799? You look at that, then you look at the iPhone 15, and then you look at the Galaxy S24. That is not a coincidence. Google said, hey, Apple's charging $800, Samsung's charging $800. We might as well charge $800 too. And in my opinion, it's the worst of the 3 devices. And I'm not hating on the Pixel. I've made plenty of videos criticizing the iPhone, so you know how I feel about that. I've had a couple of Galaxies, and I never end up using them for a long time, so I really don't care for them as much either. But the one thing I can say is that I've purchased, I think, every regular Pixel in some capacity. Now, how long did I use them? Times vary, whatever. But from the Pixel 1, which I didn't like too much, but the 2 I used for a bit. I even bought one for my dad. The Pixel 3 I really liked. The Pixel 4 I used for a bit and then ended up upgrading my dad's Pixel 2 to the Pixel 4. The Pixel 5 I had for a brief period of time. I think at that particular point in time, I didn't use it for too long because I was using the Pixel 4a, and I really enjoyed using the 4a. I bought a Pixel 6, a Pixel 7, and a Pixel 8. Again, didn't use them for an extended period of time, but I still bought them because I was curious about the devices. Now, when it comes to the 7 and the 8, the trade-in deals for those devices through Best Buy and even the Google Store, which I didn't use the Google Store, I used Best Buy, were so good, and the price of the device was lower. It made it worth it to actually trade in the device. Now, I'm not going to do all the screenshots that I use sometimes because right now I'm just sitting on a bed recording. But this year, the trade-in deals combined with the higher price of the device doesn't make it worth it if you were coming from an older Pixel. go to Best Buy's website. They are willing to give you more for Galaxy devices or iPhones from that same year that Pixel was released. And I just feel like that's them trying to say, hey, we want you to switch from another device manufacturer, but if you're already with us, we're not going to give you as much. And I don't like that. And like I said, for the past 2 years, the trade-in deals are really good. I bought one Pixel 8 because I traded in my 7 for it, but I ended up actually buying 2 Pixel 7s, one for myself, one for my mom, because the trade-in deals that year were really good. And the price of the phone was, I want to say, either between $100 and $200 less. I forget exactly what the starting price of the Pixel 7 was, but trading a Pixel 6 and a Galaxy S22, maybe, I think, like the trade-in deals were great. I mean, you got a bunch of money off the cost of the phone, and I think you got like Best Buy gift cards last year. In addition to money off the phone, I think like $100 Best Buy gift card. I also got the Pixel Buds Pro included in the trade-in promotion. And it felt like they actually valued everybody who was attempting to trade in a device. So this year, I'm skipping the Pixel. And as a result of me skipping this year, that probably means I might just be done with the Pixel altogether. Now, the one thing that I guess I'll say one additional thing I wanted to mention, and this is really, talking about these 3 device manufacturers. And I know that Google does not sell a ton Pixels, period, whether it's this country or others, but this is definitely it's a ploy to higher prices. And what I wanted to mention over here was this article, which did happen. It was back in November, but it still happened. So Verizon AT&T subscribers ask a court to reverse T-Mobile's acquisition of Sprint. Why are they doing that? And if you scroll down to here, is this it? On Friday, Reuters reported that a federal judge has ordered T-Mobile to square off in the court against AT&T and Verizon subscribers who complain that T-Mobile's acquisition of Sprint reduced competition for wireless in the U.S., forcing them to pay billions of dollars more for wireless service. The studies have shown that in the wireless category, and it could probably hold true for other categories too, that when you go from 4 major wireless companies down to 3, prices go up because competition has been reduced. And here we're talking about not the cell phone service, but we are talking about the cell phones themselves. Apple and Samsung dominate the market here in the US, so it's really only 2 companies that really matter. But as a result of that, now the other third large company, and even though they don't make a ton of, or don't sell a ton of phones, they have pretty much been given a green light to just say, you know what, let's just sell the phone for the same price as the big competitors, because they know they're not going to sell a crap ton of them in comparison to the other companies, but they have nothing to lose at this point. They're like, well, we could sell the phones for $5.99 or $6.99, but why? There are people who they know are going to buy the devices. There are some people on the fence, like I was one who was on the fence, and if the phone was $100 cheaper, I probably would have pulled the trigger. But yeah, they've lost me. But all this to say, there's minimal competition in the cell phone space in this country. And this, I think, is good evidence of Google is selling a phone for $800 that is just flat out not worth it. Again, I've ragged on the iPhone for countless videos. But in this situation, if somebody came to me and said, hey, I have $800 and I want to spend all $800 on a phone that I can easily get, that's going to be supported for a while, what do you recommend? And if I had to say or recommend a device between these 3 options, I'd say for $800, even though I'm not the hugest fan of iOS, you got to get the iPhone. I mean, it's not a bad product. I'm just not a fan of the operating system. But, Apple's making some subtle changes. So for $800, I'd say get the iPhone. Then if they came back and said, well, I'm not a fan of iOS, and I, again, want to get a phone that's easily available, I can just go to my carrier store and just buy it, what would you recommend? Between these 2 devices, then I'd say, well, the Galaxy, they're fine.
So if I had to choose between the Galaxy or the Pixel, then I'd choose the Galaxy or recommend the Galaxy. And then finally, if I had to get my true opinion of the situation, I'd be like, look, if you have $800 and you don't need it to be something that is readily available in the carrier store, I'd say, well, do some research. I, of course, have been using a Zenfone 9 and Zenfone 10 for the past, 2 years now. So that's my phone choice. But then, of course, you have OnePlus, and I'm not going to make a video of it, but I probably should. I just picked it up and I know my camera's off. But the best phone I've probably ever owned, even though I don't use it as my daily driver for a variety of reasons. But in terms of hardware specs, I think the best phone I've ever owned is probably, I have a Xiaomi 14 in my hand right now. And yeah, it's just a really, really good phone. But again, that's not readily available, so I can't, recommend that. But here in the United States, minimal competition leads to higher prices. We've seen it in the wireless category, and then I'm hopeful that this year Apple doesn't say, you know what? I think it's time to raise the price of that iPhone 16, $50. Let's bump it up to $850. Now, if you go to their site, and I know this video was only supposed to be, 5 minutes long, but it's longer than that. I feel like we might have already hit that Apple said, you know what, let's raise it just a little bit. Because even though it says from $799, how do you get that $799 price? And, make all your low selections, and let's just say no trade-in. And we're just going to buy it. But right here, you in order to get that $799 price, you have to activate it with a carrier. So if you want to just say, hey, I want an unlocked phone that I will activate later, it's $30 more. So we're really only $20 away from that $850 starting price for the iPhone. Now, if Apple decides to increase their price this year, you can imagine that Samsung might do the same thing next, and then Google will continue to raise their prices. So that's all for now. I don't recommend really any of these phones, but if I had to recommend one, it'd be the iPhone. Then if I had to recommend another one, then it'd be the Galaxy. Then finally the Pixel.